The opening of tonight's episode of TNA is really good, but it's kinda complicated, so stick with me. We open with the new TNA International Champion Frankie Kazarian coming out. He talks about how he went to war with an army veteran and he came out holding gold, and he wants the crowd to stay silent and give him a few moments of silence, a few moments of respect for being the new champion, but nobody does that. They just boo him, and he gets very irritated before introducing his guest, the new TNA Knockouts champion, NXT superstar and my favorite wrestler, Kalani Jordan. Before we get into that, I really enjoy Frankie Kazarian as champion. Originally, I was very down on the guy, but I kinda like it. I feel like this is his championship. When Steve Macklin first won it, I felt like that's the perfect championship for Steve Macklin. I feel the same about this for Frankie Kazarian. I think he's not world championship material, and he doesn't really fit into what I see the X division being, but the international championship, I feel like that's just him. So I'm kinda interested in seeing where his reign's going. Regardless, introducing Kalani Jordan, he then talks shit about the Knockouts division, telling her all of them are backstabbers, all of them talk behind Kalani's back. And she honestly doesn't care. She talks about how in college she broke a lot of gymnastic records. She broke records in NXT, becoming the first women's North American champion, and now she's the TNA Knockouts champion. So she doesn't care. She's just gonna be a good champion. And all the meanwhile, the fans are chanting NXT. Frankie Kazarian calls them real champions before Trick Williams comes out, because he kind of said Trick Williams isn't a real champion. And Trick Williams sort of takes over the show, talk about how Mike Santana is not allowed to touch him, because if Mike Santana is the aggressor tonight, he's just gonna get suspended. The championship match is not gonna happen. That is something that happened at the very start of the show when Santana arrived at the arena. Santino told him that he is allowed to defend himself if Trick Williams attacks him first, but if he in any way is the aggressor, the championship match no longer happens. Trick Williams and Frankie Kazarian keep running their mouths, which causes Matt Hardy to come out. Matt Hardy talks how they're not real champions, how they're fake, how they're not actually trying to represent TNA, and they're just a bunch of stuck-up people, which is kind of weird because Kalani Jordan, she's not really that. Like, she's confident, but she's not heelish or stuck up. But that's when Frankie Kazarian points out how Jeff Hardy isn't even allowed to be in the country since they're in Canada tonight. Then Leon Slater comes out to back him up. I love that. Leon Slater has been their son all the time, so I love that he's backing up Matt Hardy. And at this point, I kind of knew we were gonna have a match set up. Kalani Jordan tries to get things back on track, saying how she's gonna defeat Indy Hartwell at Bound for Glory and retain her championship, which causes Indy Hartwell to come out, setting up a 3-on-3 match. Now, I kinda like this match. I just wish it was Masha Slamovich instead of Indy Hartwell. I totally get why Indy Hartwell was in this match. She's challenging Kalani Jordan. It makes sense storyline wise, but I mean, Masha Slamovich has also been associated with the Hardy Boys and this whole Hardy family. I just wish we saw that instead, but again, no, it's a minor nitpick. Santana also randomly joins the commentary table for this match, which is fine. It sets up something for later, but the match itself is really good. All of this took up the first half hour of the show, by the way, the whole setup for the match itself, but it was all entertaining. I really liked it. The match was fun. Kalani Jordan was kind of torn between being a heel and a bad guy with her team and also wanting to win the match. But at the end, it didn't matter because outside, Trick and Santana ended up having a face-off before Trick accidentally gets pushed into Santana. And Santana was like, okay, you attacked me, so I kinda can attack you back. So they started brawling, and this allowed the good guys to get the victory. But which is kinda weird is that the match wasn't thrown out because Santana attacked Trick Williams, which should technically be illegal because he interfered in the match. But they didn't call it out, and you know, Matt Hardy, Leon Slater, and Indy Hartwell got the victory, but it's cool, it's not that big of a deal. But overall, I think this was a perfect way to start the show. It instantly got into a lot of action, instantly brought out a lot of stars. It was fun, I loved it. The perfect opening to the show I could have asked for, especially on the road to Bound for Glory, where it feels like slowly, you know, there's not a lot left to do. So just giving us pure hype, I think that's the best thing they could have done. Next is Tommy Dreamer standing on the ramp with a bunch of other TNA talent, hyping up TNA, hyping up his team for the upcoming Showdown pay-per-view, which is weird. I mean, Tommy Dreamer is never on TNA, and we expect to, like, what's his role? What's his, in kayfabe, what is his role here? Like, is he just a trainer? Because he's not the general manager. He's also not like the owner. That's that other guy with the TNA hat that's always there. So like, what, you know, in kayfabe, what is he like? I get it, he's the writer, but you're not gonna tell everybody that, hey, this guy writes everything. So maybe I'm also just not a big Tommy Dreamer fan, so this wasn't for me. The Angel Warriors, which is Xia Li or Lei Ying Li and Xia Brookside, have a match. It's just a tiny little jobber match, a little showcase match where they pick up the victory. I really like this team, I dig it. I'm a bit concerned about its future, but that's gonna come into talk later in the main event. But I'm happy this team got the victory. They're a fun little hyper team. I think they're very good baby faces. We head backstage where Joe Henry talks about how he defeated Eric Young, who was the first person he came into TNA in a match against. and then he talks about winning it is like kind of the mentee beating the mentor, which is when Santino comes up and says that because there were so many interferences last week and you kind of used the chair, you're gonna have a rematch next week, which will be no disqualifications. It's like, it's cool. Like, I'm excited for this match, okay? I want to see this match. I think it's gonna be insane. But what are we doing with Joe Henry? Like, he's not going to be on Showdown next week, or at least he's not booked. I'm 100% certain he's going to be on there somehow. But then he's also not booked for Bound for Glory. This feels like a match that you could put on Bound for Glory with a tiny bit of build. So, is he not going to be on Bound for Glory, or is he just going to be on the Bound for Glory Battle Royal? So, like, I don't think that's a good position to put him in. We also get a little package about Santana where he's being motivated by the Amazing Red, going over the history of TNA and a lot of that stuff. This was really good. I love how TNA legends are building up Santana, making him seem big. You kind of have to have him win, right? I know I've been torn on this because I want to see Santana win. I think it would be a star-making moment on TNA's biggest pay-per-view. But on the other hand, I really enjoy Trick Williams as champion. Maybe his reign hasn't been elite, but him as champion has just been really fun, and I'd be fine with both results, but I'm torn between what I really want. Next is just a funny ass match between Nick Nemeth and the Hometown Man. The Hometown Man has a lot of offense in it. This made me realize that, damn, Nick Nemeth has really fallen off from being TNA World Champion. Like a year ago. Yeah, literally a year ago, he was on top of the world. He was the world champion, and now he's struggling to beat Hometown Man and, you know, kinda on the same level as Ryan Nemeth. It doesn't matter. He ends up defeating the Hometown Man. After the match, he and Ryan Nemeth try attacking the Hometown Man, but Matt Cardona comes and tries to make the save, but he just fails miserably. He gets in the ring, he barely gets any moves in before he's beaten down too, and the Nemeth stand also. Like, Matt Cardona, what was that even for? Okay, like, it was just funny. Like, the dude comes in trying to make the save, trying to play hero, and then gets his ass whooped. Like, kinda funny. We also get some promo packages both from Gia Miller and Tessa Blanchard hyping up their match. I was previously concerned about this match because I didn't know if Gia Miller was a wrestler, but apparently she does have some wrestling background, she has some training, so at least it's not going to be a horrible ass match, and hopefully this transitions her into a full-time wrestler because the Knockouts division really needs this, and I feel like this has been a good story to at least have her stand out from the rest of the Knockouts. So here's hoping she defeats Tessa Blanchard and she gets at least something to do further and doesn't just transition back to commentary or interviewing, because I feel like that would be a lost opportunity. Then we have Alicia Edwards versus Tasha Steelz, continuing the build up between the System and the Order 4. Also, what I really liked about tonight was the amount of women's action we got. With the Knockouts division being so weak, we got a surprising amount of Knockouts action on the show, which I'm very happy about. It's always been one of TNA's biggest strengths, and the fact that we put a lot of focus on it tonight gives me hope because a lot of stuff was really good. But let's get back to the match. Alicia Edwards ends up defeating Tasha Steelz. Tasha Steelz tried to use a kendo stick with the Order for distracting people outside, but she missed, allowing Alicia Edwards to grab the kendo stick, hit her instead, and pick up the victory. We almost got a brawl after this match, but it didn't happen. It was just an intense stare down. This was a fun little match to continue the feud. I personally really wanted Tasha Steelz to win. I think she needs the victory because she's not been having a lot of victories recently, and she's never in the ring really either. Plus, I'm a really big fan of her, so I just kind of wanted that. Plus, not a big fan of Alicia Edwards, so you know, I'm just very biased and opinionated on this. But I'm excited for this match, man. Again, similar to Santana and Trick Williams, I don't feel like there's a lot left to do. So just treading the mill, trying to get to Bound for Glory, just having a bunch of random ass matches, but it was entertaining. And then in the main event, the Knockouts Tag Team Championships is defended. The By Elegance brand going up against the Inspiration. The Inspiration pick up the victory, and they're your new Knockouts Tag Team Champions. And I don't know if this was the plan from the beginning, but I do feel like regardless of whether it was the plan or not, they were going to win as soon as Ash by Elegance lost that championship. Nothing against the rest of the By Elegance brand, but Ash by Elegance was the glue that kept this team together. And I already said I kind of wanted Kalani Jordan to be the impromptu leader of this faction, not her turning heel, but since she was associated with Ash by Elegance, she kind of has to take over. But they didn't do that, so I'm worried about their future. But I do think they'll be fine. They're fairly entertaining, and they're probably going to be the main heels of the Knockouts Tag Team division. But I would still like to see some stuff with Kalani Jordan. On the other hand, I'm very happy for the Inspiration, and it does put a lot more momentum in the TNA team for the Knockouts and the NXT Survivor Series match next week, because most of them are champions, and Marsha Day is really cool. So that team, I still don't think it's gonna win, but they look a lot more menacing now than they did before. And that's my review of TNA for you tonight. I'm honestly just gonna give it a 7.5 out of 10. You guys know I don't give a lot of 0.5s or 0.6s or anything like that, but I just have to tonight because the show was really entertaining and I loved a lot about it. But again, I feel like this is one of those shows where there's only one major thing that happened, and that was the Inspiration becoming new Knockouts Tag Team Champions. If you missed anything else, you can tune into next week and you're not gonna really miss a whole lot of storyline. So that's just my own issue of tonight's show, but overall all the matches were fun, all the building towards Bound for Glory was really good, and honestly I'm really excited for Bound for Glory. I think the show is gonna be really good. So that's my review of TNA for you tonight. If you liked it, please like, subscribe. I cover TNA every week along with NXT and Evolve. I also have a podcast every Thursday night where we run over Evolve, talk about what happened with BUWF. So you should tune into that. Then I also have a superhero channel and a basketball channel. They're going to be linked in the description. So if you want to check out those stuff and that interests you, please do. So I hope to see you again soon. Goodbye everyone.